Right now on Morning News Now, a new era for Democrats as day 2 of the DNC gets underway. An emotional President Biden closing out night 1 and voicing his support for Vice President Harris just weeks after dropping his own bid for re-election.
It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more.
The president's address capping off a day of high-profile speeches. And tonight, former President Obama set to take the stage. We have team coverage from Chicago with highlights and what's ahead. Also breaking news this morning, tragedy in the Middle East. Israeli military officials confirming the bodies of 6 hostages have been recovered, raising questions about negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza, just one day after the Secretary of State's visit to Israel. We'll bring you the latest on talks and new fears of retaliation. Plus, summer send-off. We are less than 2 weeks to Labor Day and the unofficial end of summer. Millions of Americans are planning to spend it away from home. What you should know before you book. And emotions with Elmo, how a viral tweet by the beloved Red Muppet started an important conversation about our feelings. We all remember that. Sweet.
Exactly. Good to have you with us this morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We begin this morning in Chicago with the Democratic National Convention and the passing of the torch within the party. President Biden highlighted the first day of the convention, addressing fellow Democrats last night, where he urged his party and the nation to elect Vice President Harris as president. Tomorrow will mark exactly 1 month since Mr. Biden announced he would not seek re-election.
Earlier in the night, Vice President Harris made an unexpected appearance on stage. She gave brief remarks praising the president for his half-century of service in public office. In his speech last night, which ended after midnight on the East Coast, Mr. Biden spent time reflecting on his career while looking ahead to the future. Here are some of the highlights from the president's speech.
That democracy has prevailed. Democracy has delivered. And now democracy must be preserved. Selecting Kamala was the very first decision I made when I became our nominee. And it was the best decision I made my whole career. Most diverse cabinet in history, including the first black woman in South Asian descent to serve as vice president. And will soon serve as the 47th President of the United States. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, but I gave my best to you. For 50 years, like many of you, I've given my heart and soul to our nation. It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more.
Let's begin this hour with NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez. You can see he is at the DNC in Chicago. Gabe, thanks for joining us this morning. So let's start there on the president's speech. It was one really he didn't expect to be making, as recently as last month. But walk us through some of the other highlights of his speech, as well as who else we heard from on day 1 of the convention.
Hi there, Savannah. Good morning. Well, it wasn't so much that he didn't expect to give that speech. He may have expected to give it just later on in the convention as accepting the nomination. Instead, he gave it on the first night of the DNC. It was an emotional speech at times from President Biden. And we also heard from Hillary Clinton yesterday, from rising Democratic star Jasmine Crockett, as well as NBA coach Steve Kerr. But front and center, we heard from President Biden, and his message was one of trying to tie Vice President Kamala Harris to the successes of his administration. Take a listen to some more of what he had to say.
Think of the message he sends around the world when he talks about America being a failing nation. He says we're losing. He's the loser. He's dead wrong. The vote of each of us cast this year will determine whether democracy and freedom will prevail. It's that simple. It's that serious. And the power is literally in your hands. History is in your hands.
There you heard the president making the case against Donald Trump. Overnight, the president heading to California on vacation, saying that the highlight of the night for him was the introduction by his daughter, Ashley. Savannah?
So,
Joe?
Gabe, as we mentioned, Vice President Harris made that appearance on stage ahead of President Biden's remarks a little earlier in the evening. What was her brief message to Democrats?
Well, certainly it was a brief message of unity and really trying to thank President Biden for his role in all this. Let's listen to some more of what she had to say.
Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you. I see the beauty of our great nation. People from every corner of our country and every walk of life are here, united by our shared vision for the future of our country.
Now, Joe, as you mentioned, that was a surprise appearance by Vice President Harris. We didn't expect to hear her last night. As for later tonight, the vice president will hold a rally in Milwaukee, of course, battleground Wisconsin, a critical swing state, not very far from here, Joe and Savannah.
And Gabe, tell us what else we will see today at the convention. What's the theme? Who are we expecting to hear from?
Well, the theme for today's DNC will be a bold vision for the country. And this is what Democrats are trying to look forward here, not looking backwards, according to campaign officials. Now, we do expect to hear from the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, as well as Michelle Obama, former First Lady, of course, as well as former President Barack Obama. The introduction later today will be given by Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who greeted the president yesterday as he flew into Chicago.
All right, Gabe, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be talking over the next few days.
Let's bring in NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen. John, good to have you with us. So in a new piece this morning for NBCNews.com, you say that many of last night's speakers, quote, tried to balance paying tribute to President Biden's career while also propelling Vice President Harris into the stretch run of this campaign. You say tried. Did they succeed? What were your takeaways from day one?
Yeah, great question, Joe. And good morning, Savannah. I think that for the most part, they did succeed. There's nobody who's going to be voting for Joe Biden again. And so this was a moment, I think, for a lot of these speakers on behalf of Kamala Harris and Kamala Harris herself last night, an opportunity to try to bring in folks who are, still allegiant to Joe Biden, Biden supporters who might be still a little bit sore about what happened with the switch of candidates. But this is a party that, has, 85 days or so to get its new nominee ready. And I suspect that much of the rest of this convention is going to be about Kamala Harris and propelling forward.
John, as we just discussed, of course, we also heard from Hillary Clinton, 2016 Democratic nominee who lost to Donald Trump that year. Let's play a little bit of what she said.
We're not just electing a president, we're uplifting our nation. We're opening the promise of America wide enough for everyone. Together, we've put a lot of cracks in the highest, hardest glass ceiling. The future is here. It's in our grasp. Let's go win it.
As Joe mentioned, brief remarks, but walk us through what we heard from her, how important her appearance was, what her message was, how she was received by the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, she really gave sort of a brief mention of Joe Biden, very laudatory, but really just a little bit, and moved straight into basically a history lesson on the empowerment of women in this country, from getting the right to vote to Shirley Chisholm running for president in 1972. Through her own historic candidacy, Hillary Clinton being the first woman nominated by either major party for the presidency. She lost to Trump, folks will remember, in 2016. And then, an endorsement of Kamala Harris. One of the things she said was when she looks through that glass ceiling, what she sees is Kamala Harris holding her right hand up and being sworn in as president of the United States in January of 2025, and then a call to action for the crowd to help make that happen.
John, another busy day ahead. These are such scripted, produced events, but anything you're looking forward to?
I mean, I'm looking forward to getting some sleep at the end of the I think it'll be fascinating to see what President Barack Obama says tonight. He is somebody who put Joe Biden into the vice presidency, who was, at times not super supportive of Biden running for the presidency, and somebody who, wasn't necessarily the first to jump on board the Kamala Harris bandwagon when it was clear that Biden was going to step aside. So what he says tonight, I think, will be very interesting.
You can sleep in mid-November, John, all right?
Yeah, exactly. 77 days away now.
All right. Appreciate you, John. NBC News Now will have full coverage of the Democratic National Convention throughout the day. Our extensive live coverage begins today at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll also have primetime coverage here on NBC News Now, as well as NBC at 10 p.m. Eastern.
And let's stay with Decision 2024 coverage. People in 3 states will head to the polls today to decide who will be on the ballot in November.
Wyoming, Alaska, and Florida are all holding primaries today. There are some races to watch that could have an impact on which party takes control of Congress. For more on today's primaries, let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale. Ali, good morning. Let's start in Florida. It has a closed primary, 2 major races to watch. The first, Republican Senator Rick Scott. He's facing 2 challengers, so how does he look against them? And then who's the favorite on the Democratic side?
This race is likely to shake out, guys, the way that we've always thought it would be and the way that both campaign organizations have been acting like it would. It's going to be Rick Scott at the top of the Republican ticket, most likely, and then we expect Debbie Mucarsel-Powell to be the challenger in Florida. And there's a lot of back and forth about if Rick Scott is beatable. He is not a popular politician in the state, but having covered him for years over the course of many tight elections, specifically when he ran for Senate back in 2018, that's a race that went to an automatic recount. Scott has never won by wide margins in Florida, but he is someone who knows how to campaign methodologically and also make sure that he gets just enough votes to win. On the other hand, though, Democrats are trying to make the case that Florida is still a swing state. It's a tough argument to make. Nevertheless, Debbie Mucarsel-Powell is hoping that having the potential for abortion on the ballot and the fact that Scott is less popular in the state, along with the new headwinds that Kamala Harris brings to Democrats nationwide, they're hoping that they can at least put this state back in play and potentially flip a badly needed red Senate seat blue. This is, again, a very tricky map, though, for Democrats. Florida would be one place that we could see them expand the map, but it might be unlikely.
And Ali, House member Matt Gaetz, who is one of the people that helped push former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy out of his role, also up for re-election, and he's facing off against the McCarthy-backed GOP challenger. That's Aaron Dimmick. How's that shaping up?
This is the last stop on the Kevin McCarthy revenge tour, and his batting average is not looking like it's going to be great, especially because of the 6 out of the 8 Republicans that voted to oust McCarthy last year from the speakership. He ended up backing primary challengers in 4 of them. I covered most of them. Of course, the first one was Nancy Mace in South Carolina. She won her primary decisively. The only notch on McCarthy's belt that he has here is Congressman Bob Good, but McCarthy at that point was on the side of former President Trump. So we'll see if Gaetz ends up being someone who also falls in the McCarthy column. It does seem unlikely. He's well known in the district. It's hard to knock off incumbents in the first place, but there is a certain irony to Gaetz being the final chip in this revenge tour. And that's because these 2 men just absolutely despise each other. It was true even before Gaetz rallied everyone to oust McCarthy from the speakership, but it is certainly true now. They don't try to hide it. They openly talk about the fact that there is no love lost between these men, but there is a certain irony to Gaetz being the last one and him likely to escape his primary challenger.
Ali, quickly, let's talk about Alaska. That's a ranked choice state. Democratic Representative Mary Peltola, the state's first Alaska Native representative, is facing 11 challengers. Her bid for re-election. Does it look like she'll make it through to November?
Also, I believe the first woman to take the House of Representatives seats for Alaska, because there's one to represent the state. I covered Peltola's race back in 2022, got to get on the ground in Alaska, and ranked choice voting is really a system now. This is the second election cycle that it's in play, where Republicans are still trying to repeal it. Most voters I spoke to 2 years ago were a little skeptical, a little nervous about something new, but mostly thinking that they had confidence in the system. But it's also a system that rewards people people who work bipartisanly, who don't run to the extremes of their party. Certainly, that's the kind of lawmaker that Peltola has been. She is, of course, a Democrat in a red state. That didn't matter when she was challenging the likes of Sarah Palin last time around. But there's a wide field of Republican challengers. We'll see if she's able to make it out. But remember, Alaska, because of its vastness, a lot of people voting by mail, and because of ranked choice voting, it takes a little bit longer to tally. So we probably won't know this one for a few weeks.
All right, Ali Vitale, thank you so much.
It's a guilty plea for George Santos. The former congressman pleaded guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft in connection to his political campaign 2 years ago. The disgraced lawmaker was facing 23 federal charges, including wire fraud, money laundering, and making false statements to the Federal Elections Committee. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles has more on the terms of his plea agreement and what it means for Santos.
Former Congressman George Santos speaking to a crowd of reporters outside of court after his guilty plea.
I understand that there are legal consequences for my actions, and I accept them fully.
The embattled Republican, who became the first sitting member of Congress to be booted from office by his own colleagues in more than 20 years, pleaded guilty to 2 charges: wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. This after federal prosecutors indicted Santos on dozens of charges. While throughout his legal woes, Santos defiantly maintained he was the victim of political prosecution, he showed a different side.
It's clear to me now that I allowed ambition to cloud my judgment, leading me to make decisions that were unethical.
George Santos stood in the courthouse right behind me and finally, under oath, told the truth.
A virtual unknown, Santos rode a Republican wave into office in 2022 with a resume that was built on lies. He bragged about cutting million-dollar business deals that didn't exist and boasted about being a star volleyball player, a sport he never played. A scathing House ethics report accused Santos of deceiving his donors and using campaign cash to fund his lavish lifestyle.
Congressman, what do you say to your constituents?
Excuse me. You guys got to get out of my way.
But despite the embarrassing public spectacle, Santos refused to go away quietly. He was active on social media and sold hundreds of short, personalized videos to fans on Cameo.
Let's talk about Botox for a second.
Santos is scheduled to be sentenced in February. He's facing a minimum of at least 2 years in prison, but could face up to 22 years behind bars.
Ryan Nobles, thank you.
Well, in the Middle East, Israel's military says it recovered the bodies of 6 hostages during an overnight operation in southern Gaza. It comes as negotiations for a ceasefire deal resume today.
Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accepted what's known as a bridging proposal in a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken yesterday. Now the U.S. is urging Hamas to do the same.
NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez is live in Tel Aviv with the latest for us. Raf, good morning. What do we know about Israel's overnight operation and the recovery of those bodies? Let's start there.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. Israel's military says it was operating on precise intelligence, that it carried out a raid in the city of Han Yunis in southern Gaza overnight, and it came back with the bodies of these 6 male hostages. Now, we already knew that most of these hostages were dead already, either killed on October 7th or had died in the months since. But among them was 79-year-old Avraham Munder. He was a grandfather who was kidnapped along with his wife, his daughter, and his 8-year-old grandson, Ohad, on October 7th. Ohad and the 2 women came out of Gaza in that first ceasefire deal back in November, and we have spoken to the family many, many times over the last 10 months. They campaigned absolutely tirelessly, hoping to bring their grandfather home safely, but it was not to be. They now have his body, and we expect that they will lay him to rest in the coming days. Guys.
Ralph, let's talk about the ceasefire negotiations. Hamas has said it's not going to attend those negotiations today. How is that going to impact the timing of a potential agreement, and what would happen if an agreement's not reached?
So, Joe, as you know, the format of these talks has never been Israel and Hamas sitting at the table across from each other. So the fact that Hamas is not physically showing up in Cairo is not in and of itself a deal breaker. But Hamas is making very negative signs right now about this American proposal. Israel has accepted that proposal, according to Secretary Blinken, but Hamas says it makes too many concessions to Israel. For example, Hamas is saying it allows Israeli forces to remain remain on the Gaza-Egypt border. So at this point, Secretary of State Blinken continuing to crisscross the Middle East. He says he is determined to get this deal done, but it looks right now like he only has buy-in from one side. So it is really not clear right now what the path forward is. In terms of what happens if there isn't a deal, the fighting continues, the hostages remain in captivity, but also Iran appears to have been holding off on its threat to strike Israel in retaliation for the assassination of that senior Hamas commander in Tehran. If these ceasefire talks break down, then there really isn't any reason for Iran and its Hezbollah allies to hold off. Guys.
Raph, of course, a major concern here has been just the sheer number of civilians in Gaza who have died, who have been impacted by this. We also now know that more than 200 humanitarian workers specifically have been killed in Gaza. That is according to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. They also note that is the highest number of UN aid workers that have died in any conflict or any natural disaster since the UN began operations. How's Israel responding to claims it's not doing enough to protect civilians?
Yeah, it's just an extremely grim toll, Savannah. The message from Israel has been pretty consistent since the beginning of the war. They say they are fighting an extremely complex conflict against an enemy who deliberately hides among the civilian population inside of the Gaza Strip. They say that they take measures to reduce civilian casualties, for example, creating this humanitarian zone on the coast. They say they try to use smaller munitions when they can. But what we are hearing over and over and over again from the United Nations, from other humanitarian organizations, is that simply Israel is not doing enough to keep civilians safe. And you are hearing that not just from the aid community, but from President Biden, from Vice President Kamala Harris, who say that while they support Israel's right to defend itself, the Israeli military and the government absolutely must do more to keep innocent Palestinians safe. Guys.
Ralph, thank you so much. Time now for weather. While the Northeast dries out, dangerous heat is spreading across the South.
This morning we have Angie Lastman with us here on set. Angie, good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys. We got a heat dome going on, and that basically just means we're kind of stuck in this pattern where we've got plenty of heat confined to parts of the South, specifically much of Texas included in these heat alerts this morning. But we've also got this stretching across parts of the Southwest where plenty of those alerts are in effect this morning. They're going to stay in effect likely for the next couple of days. Honestly, we have multiple chances to beat some of these record highs across this same region. So Phoenix will be one of those spots. We'll see San Angelo, Austin, up through Amarillo, Albuquerque included in that, as well as down towards the coast for Galveston. And these are just some of the spots that we could watch potentially break those record highs through the end of the work week. Today, though, here's what you're expecting. Las Vegas, 110 degrees, running above normal across most of this region. We'll hit the high 90s in Albuquerque. El Paso heads to 103. We've got 101 for Midland. So you get the picture. It's really warm for that area. It's a lot cooler and much cooler than it should be for this time of year across a good chunk of the Northeast, stretching into the Midwest. Even the Mid-Atlantic is going to be included in these cooler than normal conditions here over the next couple of days. So how cool? Well, temperatures only topping out into the low 70s in Chicago, where folks are, of course, at the DNC. We've got 71 in Detroit, running 10 degrees below normal there. 7 degrees below normal in New York City. It's only going to hit 76 degrees today. You probably walked outside this morning in some of these spots and noticed the cooler air that is in place. That will last for a little while longer before we start to get back to more typical types of temperatures in that region as we get into the weekend. But Florida, you have a little rain in the forecast. We've dried out for most of the Northeast, but the rain is going to be confined really to parts of the Rockies where we have some thunderstorms. But Florida, not so much the severe risk that we're watching for, but instead the heavy rain as we see a stationary front kind of just hanging around over the next couple of days. So it keeps it kind of unstable. It'll leave us with the chance for some of these downpours to cause some localized flooding, and that'll be something we watch at least through the day today, guys, and into Thursday. We'll have the potential to pick up a couple of inches of rain. So some flooding in those typical flood-prone spots. And that's
Angie, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Much more to come here on Morning News. Now, later this hour, a shared struggle. More millennials and Gen Zers say they're spiraling partying more and saving less to cope with the uncertain economy. We'll break down the emotions and better ways to distress.
Up first, though, after the break, missing at sea, we will bring you the latest on the search for 6 people off the coast of Italy after a yacht sank during a violent storm. Stay with us.
We're back with a look at a new short documentary that focuses on two boys attending their very first drag story hour. The film, titled It's Okay, is co-produced by Tony Award-winning actor and activist Jesse Tyler Ferguson and directed by Oscar-nominated director David France. It just had its premiere on MSNBC and is now available to stream. We're going to bring in director David France, who joins us now with more on this project. David, good to have you with us this morning. I know you said you got the idea for the film after watching people protest a story hour here in New York. This was actually shot in Charlotte, North Carolina. First, what was the mood like?
Well, the mood in the first drag story hour that I witnessed in Queens was horrible. I mean, there was the Proud Boys were there, true Nazis were there delivering true Nazi salutes. It was the most remarkable gathering of the extreme far right that I'd seen maybe in my life. And this is all coming at a time when the backlash against LGBTQ rights has been as severe as at any time since the 1970s. Some 75 anti-LGBTQ laws have been voted in the last couple of years in this country, and many of them taking aim at drag. And I thought when I first saw that scene, I wondered what it meant to the kids who were going there, what all of this political, torturous opposition, how did that impact them? And I chose North Carolina because that's one of the states where anti-drag laws were being promulgated and voted in, where death threats and firebombs were being deployed to stop drag story hour readings, and so we chose this group in Charlotte, North Carolina, that was going to go ahead anyway, despite the laws. It was just a week after the law was passed in North Carolina that we went there. And we met these brothers who had never gone to a drag story hour before. Yeah. They didn't really know what to expect. And they gamely allowed us to go in with them and just experience the reading through their eyes.
David, we only have like 20 seconds left here, but if there's one thing people can take away from this, what do you hope it is?
Well, we called the film It's Okay, which is a phrase taken from the book that was being read to the kids. And what we recognized in our experience with these two boys was that this was really an experience that was opening their worlds. And maybe not speaking to them personally, but speaking to the world around them. And the net effect was really remarkable. The two boys had totally different reactions to the reading, but both reactions really underscore the idea that diversity in our world today is something that's not just to be treasured, but to grow through.
David French, thank you so much. It's Okay, which was co-produced by MSNBC Films, is available on demand through msnbc.com. David, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Now let's head to the coast of Italy, where at least one person is dead and an urgent search is underway for 6 others, including 2 Americans and a British tech mogul who went missing after a yacht sank during a violent storm. NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson has more.
Italian rescue crews scouring the sea for any sign of life after a private British-flagged superyacht was ripped apart by a sudden freak storm just before sunrise.
It's a strong orkan gust. Very strong. Very strong.
22 people were on board. Rescue boats were immediately deployed, saving 15 people as the storm raged. The Italian Coast Guard confirming 6 people are still missing, including 2 Americans. In a harrowing feat, one mother, identified as Charlotte, says she managed to hold her 1-year-old baby above the waves until they were both pulled to safety. Miraculously, a doctor confirmed Charlotte's husband, also on board, was found safe. We reunited the whole family, he says. They are here with us. Italian authorities say this 184-foot luxury yacht was anchored about a half-mile off the Sicilian coast when it is believed to have been struck by a violent storm. The wreckage, now 160 feet below the surface. Sources familiar with the matter telling CNBC that British tech tycoon Mike Lynch, the founder of England's once biggest software company Autonomy, is among the missing. In June, he was cleared in a massive U.S. fraud trial related to the company's $11 billion sale to Hewlett-Packard. Investigators now say they're hoping to piece together how a modern yacht was so thoroughly destroyed in a storm that barely damaged other ships. Survivors wait for any word of their missing friends or loved ones, with hope sinking after every passing hour. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
Now let's get to what else is making news around the world this morning, starting with the latest in Ukraine. NBC international correspondent Claudio Lavanga joins us from Rome this morning. Hey, Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. That's right. Well, Ukrainian authorities have ordered the evacuation of a key city in the Donbas region after the Russian forces are continuing their advance in the east of Ukraine. Now the city is called Pokrovsk and is a defensive stronghold and logistical hub for Ukraine's troops on the eastern front. The evacuation comes as Ukraine makes slow progress advancing into Russia's Kursk region, which hopes to divert Russian troops away from the east. Donetsk region head Vadim Filashkin says around 53,000 people remained in the city before the forced evacuation. Now over to India, where the Supreme Court set up a national task force compiled of doctors in order to make recommendations on the safety of healthcare workers. This comes days after the rape and killing of a training physician, which sparked protests by doctors across the country and even a temporary suspension of care for non-emergency patients. The task force aims to form guidelines that will ensure the safety and protection for medical professionals there. And finally, get your scuba gear and shovels ready, because Switzerland's Federal Office for Defense Procurement is holding a competition to remove all munitions from the country's scenic lakes. The top 3 entries will share a $57,000 prize. Munitions have been buried between 120 and 220 meters below the surface between the years of 1918 and 1964 in a number of lakes, including the beautiful Lake Brienz, Lucerne and Thun. Now, the task may prove a little challenging with low visibility, currents, and also that little problem of the risk of explosion. Sure. Now, Savannah, you have until February the 6th until to 2025 to decide whether to enter the competition. But as competitions goes to Savannah, well, that is a real blast, to be honest.
Nice, Claudio. Very interesting. That's the way they're approaching it. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a little bit. Coming up, unpacking election anxiety. We're less than 3 months to the election, and for many of us, the stress is real. Up next in our weekly check-in, we'll break down the emotions behind election season and get some tips to cope. Plus, remembering TV legend Phil Donahue, a look back at his life and his decades-long career. This is Morning News Now. Welcome back. Phil Donahue, one of the great daytime talk show pioneers, has died at the age of 88. Donahue is credited with transforming talk shows into what we know and enjoy today, interacting with studio audiences and discussing hot-button issues on air. NBC News correspondent Ann Thompson takes a look back at his legendary career.
Is the caller there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Before there was The View or Oprah, there was Donahue.
Where are our values here?
For almost 30 years, Phil Donahue led a lively, informative daytime talk show. Long a feminist rather than recipes and gossip, he elevated the genre to issues.
We grew up with the gay rights movement. We grew up with the anti-war movement.
No subject was off limits.
Do you feel that discussions of sex might be useful and positive and help promote a healthy society?
Or at the end, too salacious.
Well, it's more competitive.
As the syndicated show moved from Dayton, Ohio to Chicago to New York, Donahue was the first to let his audience ask questions.
Our radical idea was called democracy.
Yet it was his incisive probing and energy that made him the king of daytime talk, earning 20 Emmy Awards and a Peabody. Winfrey posting there would not have been an Oprah show without him. Donahue moved to cable but never duplicated his success. President Biden, who awarded Donahue the Medal of Freedom.
From Irish Catholic roots in Cleveland, Phil Donahue rose to transform television.
Called him an icon. A father of 5, Donahue married twice, including 44 years to actress Marlo Thomas.
The most important moment is that first moment. I mean, it certainly was with me when I walked in the green room on the day that she was a guest.
A television pioneer who got America talking. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
What a look back. Well, it is time now for our weekly mental health check-in. We're taking a closer look at what it means to spiral. Millennials, Gen Z, they say it's a feeling they're experiencing more often. We're also going to get you some tips on how to handle election stress as we get closer, of course, to casting our votes. Let's bring in psychotherapist Dr. Robbie Ludwig for more on this. Dr. Robbie, always great to see you. Good morning. So walk us through what it means to spiral. I think it's something by definition that people of all ages deal with, but we are hearing a lot about this from millennials and Gen Zers and handling their stress.
Yeah, so when you hear the term spiraling, what it means is, and we all know the word spiraling out of control, it's when our negative thoughts take over and we feel that we can't control them. And, you know, a lot of millennials are feeling this and the younger generation is feeling this because, you know, the world feels a little bit out of control for them and they feel it's hard to pay their bills, to keep a job, to socialize. A lot of these younger generations, too, are just making it into the adult world. And what do you do when you feel like your whole world is out of control and you can't catch up? It's almost an induced hopelessness. And the way to take control of that is to break things up into steps, some self-awareness, and also to work towards your goals. And that's following the plan and not necessarily the feeling.
Ooh, love that. Follow the plan, not the feeling, because sometimes that feeling feels like it's all that you can get through, but just to try to move that away. I really like that. Okay, let's talk about this politics one. So, of course, right now we've got the DNC underway. We're talking about politics a lot. It means we're one step closer to the election. This is always a stressful time, and people are already starting to feel it, even though we are now, I believe today the count is 76 days, maybe 75 days away from the election. Why do some people experience this anxiety around elections, and what can we do to try to move away from that feeling?
Yeah, I've heard that politics has been described as the new religion. So people feel very strongly about their politics. And a lot has to do with what you're watching. And it has to do with your visual diet. So if you're consuming a lot of news, there's a statement called, if it bleeds, it leads. You know, put some boundaries around what you're watching because it does impact your level of stress and anxiety. It's almost designed to get you to feel frustrated, angry, fearful, worried. Everybody wants their candidate to win. And what you want to do is you want to use all of those feelings to be a part of the process. Make sure that you're voting. Maybe you get involved with grassroots organizations so you feel like you have some support systems as we're all going through this at the same time.
Let's also talk about this fun one. We talked about this earlier in the show. Elmo, of course. So he sent out this simple tweet. Everybody remembers this. It said, Elmo's just checking in. How is everybody doing? Here it is. Tweet went totally viral, and a lot of people were just expressing, you know, really negative feelings, burnout, sadness, stress, in response to just this simple Elmo tweet. So that response then actually inspired Sesame Workshop to conduct a nationwide survey. They called it the State of Well-Being Report. What did we learn from this?
So it was very interesting. What we learned from this poll was that it was very important for people to achieve mental well-being in addition to financial well-being, and that there's a strong emphasis to have social emotional education within the school system so that people and younger generations could learn to identify their emotions. And there was a high percentage of people that also stated they wish that their parents had been more aware of their own mental health. So again, the focus is on mental health and well-being and how important it is.
Absolutely. Dr. Robbie Ludwig, we love when you come by. Thank you so much. Great stuff today.
Thank you.
Coming up, a holiday getaway, Labor Day. Get this, it's now less than 2 weeks away, and many Americans are planning to spend it on vacation. We're going to talk to a travel expert about what you can expect at the airports or on the roads. This is Morning News Now. We are back with a look at a new program that could make it easier for nearly 500,000 undocumented immigrants in the U.S. to get a green card. But the longevity of the program hangs in the balance. With less than 3 months to the election, many Republicans are strongly opposed to it, including former President Trump. NBC News correspondent David Noriega spoke to one Arizona family about how it could change their lives.
Rodrigo de la Rosa, who goes by Rod, was a small child when he came to Arizona from Mexico.
You were 5?
Yeah, 5.
3 years ago, he married Ashley de Alba, and they have a little girl on the way. It's the picture of a happy American life, except that more than 20 years after coming to the U.S., Rod is still undocumented. He works painting houses, but aspires to be a sports photographer. Does not having papers get in the way of that?
It does. It just cuts a lot of opportunities. Like, you can't get a regular job.
Keep families together.
A major new Biden administration program known as Parole in Place will make it much easier for Rod to apply for a green card and then citizenship. Until now, he would have had to leave the country to apply and risk separating from his family for years. Now he can apply from here.
How could this potentially change your lives?
In so many ways. We would be able to actually do the things that we want to do. We want to both be homeowners. I don't want everything to just be on my name. I want him to have the same opportunities that I have.
To qualify, applicants need to be married to a U.S. citizen, pass a criminal background check, and have lived in the U.S. for at least 10 years. The White House estimating that 500,000 undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens are eligible. Republicans, including former President Donald Trump, slamming the executive action as mass amnesty.
Now he's granting illegal amnesty? I mean, this guy is totally out of control. It's completely lawless.
In the last election, Joe Biden won Arizona by about 10,000 votes. The number of families who are expected to qualify for parole in place here in Arizona, it's more than that. It's about 15,000. So in a state like this program could actually sway the election. Ashley is one of those swing voters.
So my mom saved this for our daughter.
Did you vote in 2020?
Yes.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Trump.
With Biden off the ticket and her family set to benefit from a Democratic policy, now she's undecided.
Is it fair to say you're considering voting for the Democrats now?
Yeah, I'm considering it. I want to see how permanent this is. Like, is this just a ploy for votes, or is this something that they're really taking serious?
The program will likely be challenged in court, and if Trump wins, it could be scrapped altogether. But if Rod does get his papers...
This is when she was a little bean.
He and Ashley will be starting a new chapter in more ways than one. Yeah. David Noriega, NBC News, Phoenix.
Here's what's making some financial headlines. We are following a new headache for Boeing this morning.
CNBC's Silvana Henao has that and some other money headlines. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Savannah. Good morning to you. So Boeing has discovered cracks in the structure of its 777X jetliner in initial test flights. It's the latest setback for the long-delayed plane. Now, Boeing will ground its test fleet while it replaces the defective part. The company has more than 500 orders for the new aircraft that it plans to start delivering to customers next year. Now, the 777X is designed for longer-haul flights and can carry about 400 passengers. Waymo is working on a new robo-taxi with more legroom and less expensive tech. The self-driving startup, which is owned by Google's parent company Alphabet, is integrating its systems into vehicles made by the joint venture of Geely and Zeekr. Now, it should be it should handle about a wider range of weather conditions without requiring as many cameras and sensors on board. Waymo is working to expand its existing robotaxi service within the Sunbelt cities of San Francisco, Phoenix, Austin, and Los Angeles. And you can now eat Doritos in zero gravity. PepsiCo is launching a special pack designed to be eaten in space, allowing astronauts to snack in the final frontier. Now, they swap out the chip's classic powder topping with an oil-based coating to keep dust from floating about the spaceship. Now, the chips are also bite-sized to limit the odds of pieces breaking off and contributing to space junk. The new chips will debut on SpaceX's Polaris Dawn mission later this month. It's
got a very niche customer.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Totally.
No, I bet Butch and Sonny up there wish that they had those right now.
Except for I would want the nacho cheese, not the Cool Ranch. Silvana, thank you.
You got it.
All right, sorry to burst your summer bubble, but we are now less than 2 weeks away from Labor Day weekend.
What?
And while that does mean cooler temps are on the way, AAA is predicting even more record-breaking travel for the holiday weekend.
It is still summer, though, but domestic bookings are up 9% compared to this time last year. And if you're looking to fit in that last-minute summer getaway, we've got some good news for you and your wallet this morning. The cost to travel within the U.S. has actually fallen by 2% year over year.
Expedia travel expert Christy Hudson joined us now with more on this. So it has already been a summer just filled with smashing records. So what can people expect if they're hitting the roads or hitting the runways over the next few weeks here with Labor Day?
So Labor Day is shaping up to be record-breaking. Like you said, it's supposed to rival 4th of July when they saw 3 million people come through TSA. So if you're going to hit the roads, if you're going to the airport, you should prepare for lots of people to be doing the same. But the good news is gas prices are down a little bit, domestic airfares down a little bit, so there's a chance to save.
Where are the top destinations, whether it be domestic, where it sounds like maybe we can get some deals, or international for this time period, for that late summertime?
Yeah, so Seattle, my hometown actually, is one of the top destinations for Labor Day weekend. It's a perfect time to go. The weather's beautiful. There's a music festival in the city, and there's still some availability. I checked on the Expedia app this morning. Internationally, you're going to see Cancun, Vancouver popping up as top destinations for the holiday weekend. So people are headed to the West Coast. They're headed to the beach. A lot of domestic road trips are the name of the game for a Labor Day weekend.
Got it. I concur. Seattle this time of year is beautiful. So, last minute deals, like, because this is definitely last minute. If you want to leave, you know, a week from Friday, are there any out there?
Yes, there are. So some of the destinations seeing the best drops in price for hotels are Nashville, Salt Lake City, New Orleans. Those are all seeing 15 to 20% decreases in terms of hotel nightly rates for Labor Day weekend. But the real trick for Labor Day is to dodge the busy travel days. So try to avoid Friday, try to avoid Monday. I looked online and there is a deal from New York to Cancun. A flight goes from $850 to $500 just by leaving Saturday of Labor Day weekend instead of Friday.
So. Very interesting. Okay, let's say we're not talking so last minute. If we want to make some plans for the fall, have something to look forward to, any deals that we should know about in September, October, November months?
Yeah, so fall is one of my favorite times to travel because as the kids go back to school, the prices come down, the demand goes down. So on average, airfare is about 10% cheaper during the fall than it is during summer. And for hotels and vacation rentals, the discounts can be even deeper. So it's a great time to go.
Yeah, I was going to say October, November, if you don't have kids, that is like the time you should be like, okay, we are traveling, we are getting the deals.
Exactly, and I'm not telling you to take your kids out of school, but you know, if you do, just for a few days, but it really can be great to avoid those summer crowds.
Yeah, I've got a big October trip based around a wedding, and I've never really done that before, like a fall trip. I'm excited about it.
There you go.
Feels like a good time.
Christy Hudson, thank you so much. Great advice. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up, an emotional reunion after nearly a decade apart.
When we return, how a beloved family dog found his way back home after being stolen. Don't pause your devices. This is Morning News Now. We are back now with a heartwarming reunion, 9 long years in the making.
One Texas family says it's finally whole again after their dog, who had been stolen, was recently found in another state. Here's reporter for NBC affiliate KARK, Caroline Derby, with the story.
For many of us, our pets are our family. They're with us for the good times, and they comfort us during the hard times.
You know, while I was out to sea, weeks, months at a time gone, he was with her.
David Cardenas and his wife Alejandra got Milo when he was a puppy, a companion while David was deployed in the Navy.
He was my first kid.
But they had to leave Milo with a family member in Los Fresnos, Texas, while they were moving in 2015. While gone, they say their beloved pet was stolen.
The worst part was, like my wife and I say, just not knowing.
They lost hope after looking for him until a random Arkansas telephone number called them this week. 9 years later.
Said, let me FaceTime you. And so as soon as I turned the camera around, like their voices changed and they were so excited.
It was very overwhelming.
The family was going to meet someone in Houston, Texas to pick up Milo, but...
Man, I just told my boss, I was like, hey, I got an emergency. I got to go. And so I canceled everything I had for today and I told them.
They traveled all the way from Los Fresnos, Texas to Cabot, Arkansas. 800 miles and more than a dozen hours in the car, all leading up to this moment.
There he is. Hey, big boy. Oh, you got big. You got really big. Look at you.
The missing piece of their family fit right in. Once again, praising the small device that reunited them.
I would microchip every single one of my pets, even if they were in a fence, because you never know what could happen next.
A 9-year-long journey, somehow ending up in Cabot, Arkansas. Now on another long journey, back to where he belonged.
They're different looking, but the feeling's still the same. You don't get rid of that.
With his family.
He got big. Our thanks to NBC affiliate reporter Caroline Derby for bringing us that great story.
9 years, my goodness.
Oh, love it. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, bidding farewell. President Biden throwing his weight behind Vice President Kamala Harris during an emotional speech at the Democratic National Convention. Comes as thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters gathered outside the convention, demanding the Biden administration stop sending weapons to Israel for the war in Gaza. The president acknowledging the protests during his speech.
We're working around the clock, my Secretary of State, to prevent a wider war. Those protesters out in the street, they have a point. A lot of innocent people are being killed.
We will have more on an eventful and historic day at the DNC, plus what we're watching for as day 2 gets underway. Speaking of the war, Secretary Blinken is in Egypt this morning, continuing his push for a ceasefire in Gaza, one day after meeting with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The visit taking on more urgency overnight after Israel says the bodies of 6 hostages were found in Gaza. We're going to have the latest out of the Middle East. Also this morning, heavy rains in the Northeast turning deadly, severe floods destroying homes and roads, and in a dramatic moment, more than a dozen people rescued from this flooded Connecticut restaurant. We're tracking all the extreme weather that's gripping the country. Plus, space watchers were in for a treat overnight, a blue supermoon visible in the skies. We'll take a closer look at this rare lunar phenomenon and why it could be the start of a series of astronomical events. Lucky to have former astronaut Mike Massimino with us to break that one down.
I love when he's here, and those images, they don't even look real.
They're stunning. Even on a phone, which I always ridicule, they look okay. All right, we're going to begin this hour.
Maybe not on yours.
Well, definitely not on my phone. We begin this hour at the Democratic National Convention with day 2 getting underway today in Chicago.
The DNC kicked off last night, capped by a speech by President Biden and paving the way for Vice President Harris as the future of the Democratic Party. It was just 1 month ago when Mr. Biden announced he would no longer be seeking a second term in office, and he threw his support behind Vice President Harris. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has more from Chicago.
Good day to you. This turned into a late night here. President Biden's remarks, his swan song of sorts, running well into the early morning hours, with many Democrats leaving exhausted but exhilarated after showering the outgoing president with love. President Biden heaping praise on Kamala Harris, punctuating what many Democrats see as the ultimate political sacrifice, relinquishing his own re-election bid to give the party what most here believe is its best chance to beat Donald Trump.
Overnight, a passing of the torch. President Biden delivering a rousing endorsement of his vice president.
Are you ready to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, President and Vice President of the United States?
Praising Harris as she tries to make history as America's first woman president.
Like many of our best presidents, she was also vice president.
The president, supported by his family, becoming emotional after he was introduced by his daughter Ashley, and receiving rapturous applause from the crowd. During the speech, the president touched on his decision to leave the race last month amid pressure from Democrats.
I love the job, but I love my country more. And all this talk about how I'm angry at all those people who said I should step down, that's not true.
President Biden also making a point of praising Harris while touting their record together.
We've had one of the most extraordinary 4 years of progress ever. Period. When I say we, I mean Kamala and me.
Earlier, the vice president honored her political partner in a surprise appearance at center stage.
Joe, thank you for your historic leadership. We are forever grateful to you.
Among the night's other marquee names, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, whose own presidential hopes were dashed by Donald Trump.
We've put a lot of cracks in the highest, hardest glass ceiling. On the other side of that glass ceiling is Kamala Harris.
Zeroing in on the former president.
So it is no surprise, is it, that he is lying about Kamala's record? He's mocking her name and her laugh. Sounds familiar.
For his part, Mr. Trump, campaigning yesterday, was asked whether he'd accept the results of the election.
If it's going to be a fair and free election, the answer is absolutely I will.
President Biden in his address also attacking Mr. Trump.
You cannot say you love your country only when you win.
warning against what he called clear and present threats to democracy.
Democracy has prevailed. Democracy has delivered. And now democracy must be preserved.
The president reflecting on his legacy, repeating a song verse he used in his inaugural address.
Let me know in my heart, when my days are through, America, America, I gave my best to you. I made a lot of mistakes in my career, but I gave my best to you. For 50 years.
So looking ahead to tonight, Vice President Harris, she's not going to be here. In fact, she and her running mate, Tim Walz, will be in neighboring Wisconsin this evening, rallying supporters in the exact same building where Mr. Trump hosted the Republican convention just last month. Here it is the Obama's night with the former First Lady Michelle Obama and former President Obama, the headliners. Back to you.
All right, Peter, thank you. While the DNC is going on there inside the United Center, protesters are making their voices heard outside.
Yeah, thousands of people marched yesterday through the streets of Chicago, with many voicing their opposition to the war in Gaza. These protests are expected to continue throughout the week. NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster is in Chicago and joins us with more on this. Hi, Shaq. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. And this area was the scene of some of the most tense moments yesterday during that demonstration. That fence that you see behind me was able to be breached, but this morning it has not just been fixed, but it's also been reinforced. You see crews actively working on it right behind me. We're just blocks away from the United Center as we're expecting another round of protests today.
This morning, authorities in Chicago remain on high alert following moments of heated protests outside the Democratic National Convention. Multiple people detained and arrested, some carried away after a group broke through a layer of Secret Service fencing.
They breached the fence, they got into the outer perimeter. We have no idea what they would have done if they gotten onto the other side.
Officers scrambling to rebuild a piece of the damaged barrier. The DNC Joint Information Center writing at no point was the inner perimeter breached and there was no threat to any protectees. Overnight, demonstrators even seen inside the convention center, one group unraveling a protest banner in support of Palestinians during President Biden's speech, with other attendees quickly placing their own signs in front of them. Officers in riot gear clearing a protest area after mostly peaceful demonstrations. Thousands rallying and marching Monday afternoon, at one point delaying some buses carrying convention delegates, a DNC official tells NBC News.
Felt like I needed to be around like-minded people that care about humanity.
The groups focused on different issues, but many demanding the Democratic Party and its new presidential nominee support ending aid to Israel in its war in Gaza.
We have but one demand: end the genocide in Palestine. Stop sending weapons to Israel.
A demand protesters say they will keep making each day of this convention.
And Chicago's top cop praised his officers overnight, saying that the de-escalation training that they received ahead of the convention came to good use. He says that there was no tear gas used and no batons used during that situation yesterday. The hope is that as we're expecting more protests to come, that the most tense scenes are already behind us. Guys?
All right, Shaq, thank you so much.
Let's bring in Sophie Barron for more on what young voters want to hear during this convention.
Yeah, she is the founder and CEO of The Conversationalists, a nonpartisan platform empowering the next generation to use their voices, disrupt worldviews, unify conversation, and we love whenever she joins us on this show. Sophie, good morning. Thanks very much for being here. So let's take a closer look at some of the issues that were brought up on day one. How did they line up with the interests of young voters? Are they getting the message?
Absolutely. Great to see you both. The issues that were brought up on day one are certainly Gen Z's priorities. Time and time again, we are looking for politicians that will follow through on inflation and the economy, climate, gun violence prevention, reproductive rights. And I think what we've seen is that young people are feeling represented in these conversations. You know, time and time again, the young people I speak to have been incredibly apathetic, but now feel like they've been invited into the conversation. For the first time, it feels that the Democratic Party is taking young people seriously. And when a campaign starts speaking your language, it makes you want to speak back. So while they may not be super fans of the candidates, they feel that they are ready to be there and be a part of the conversation.
You mentioned gun violence. We don't hear a lot of talk about that usually during the campaigns. What is it young voters want to hear? Do they feel like more change is possible? Because every time we hear a school shooting or a mass shooting, people promise change, nothing happens.
Sure. I mean, I don't know a single young person that hasn't been impacted by the gun violence conversation. You know, we've known a world growing up with active shooter drills. It's a part of our DNA, whether we want it to be or not. And I think this shift that we're seeing for young voters wanting to show up, join the conversation, show up to vote, gives me hope that we will have sway. We will make our voices heard. But I think we're still waiting to see how these candidates will follow through on what they're setting out to do for our generation. We're ready to make our voices heard on a myriad of issues, and this is one of the central ones that we think will impact our future, but we're waiting for politicians to show us the roadmap. How are they going to do this? And I think it's a great step to be in these conversations and be in the room.
It's been very interesting to see how social media has played in here. There was the whole brat summer thing that happened around Kamala Harris. Then we also have seen them actually invite creators to the DNC that are sort of being pushed with press to the same areas. We've also really seen Gen Z take on social media to Governor Tim Walz, to Harris's running mate, which is sort of a surprise. What do you think is the appeal there?
There's certainly excitement for young people around Walz being the vice presidential nominee. I think he understands our generation in a way that we haven't seen candidates do so in the past. He's a teacher. He has kids that are Gen Z age. He's a Swiftie. And while that might be great, I think young people are, again, looking for candidates to follow through. Let's give Gen Zers more credit. You know, we can laugh along to a brat summer meme and then have a serious conversation about inflation right after that. And I think we're looking for politicians to show that they understand our needs and can have both. Right? We can take that collective sigh of relief and have fun along the way, but we're waiting to see how these politicians will actually be able to unify our country, and the best way to do that is to start the conversation.
In early July, when it was Trump versus Biden, young voters were tuning out perhaps more than anyone else. That has changed in the last month. We see more enthusiasm and excitement. What will it take to keep that enthusiasm, that momentum going all the way to election day?
Absolutely. I mean, we're seeing in the polls that consistently young Americans between the ages of 18 to 29 are planning to vote for Harris over Trump, but there's still a variance in the numbers. You know, some polls are saying that 40% of young people support Trump versus 27, and I think we need to remember that there's still time. While the Harris-Walz ticket might resonate more with young people, we're still looking for those receipts, those results. How are these politicians going to represent us, not just in inviting content creators to the DNC, but how are we going to be in those rooms where policies are being crafted? How are we going to listen to the voices of young people that don't have a following? And I think to keep the momentum going, it's really about centering their voices in the conversation and between people of all different views, which is what we work on at The Conversationalist, because when we get through November, 3 weeks later, we're going to be sitting at the Thanksgiving table with relatives that have different views than we do, and we're going to be the ones left with how to navigate that. So politicians need to listen more and show the roadmap for how we can actually unify our country.
And I think we've certainly learned that, I think we've certainly learned, though, also that young people are not a monolith. Like there are huge swaths of the country where even young people are conservative. I think it's just interesting to see engagement across the board be happening.
Absolutely. And I think it's indicative that we want to be a part of the dialogue, no matter your views, and that's how to engage young people, by meeting them where they are.
All right. Sophie Barron, thank you so much. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Great shirt.
NBC News Now will have full coverage of the Democratic National Convention throughout the day. Our extensive live coverage begins today at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll also have primetime coverage tonight here on NBC News Now, as well as on NBC at 10 p.m. Eastern. Overnight in the Middle East, Israel's military says it recovered the bodies of 6 hostages during an operation in southern Gaza. It comes as negotiations for a ceasefire deal resume today. The U.S. is now urging Hamas to agree to what's known as a bridging proposal that Israel accepted in a meeting yesterday. NBC News International correspondent Raf Sanchez has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Hey there, as Secretary Blinken crisscrosses the Middle East, Israel announcing today it has recovered the bodies of 6 more hostages from Gaza. It is a grim discovery, and it's giving a new sense of urgency to the effort to reach a ceasefire deal. This morning, Secretary Blinken arriving in Egypt in pursuit of a ceasefire after a one-on-one meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. Blinken says Israel has now agreed to an American plan to pause the fighting and free the hostages.
He confirmed to me that Israel accepts the bridging proposal, that he supports it. It's now incumbent on Hamas to do the same.
But overnight, Hamas slamming the U.S. plan, objecting to requests by Netanyahu. A senior Hamas official saying the U.S. administration and the international community must put an end to this recklessness and pressure Netanyahu.
What I would say to Hamas and to its leadership is, if it genuinely cares about the Palestinian people that it purports to somehow represent, then it will say yes to this agreement.
Overnight at the Democratic National Convention, President Biden repeating his own call for a ceasefire and referring to protesters around the convention in a notable ad-lib.
Those protesters out in the street, they have a point. A lot of innocent people are being killed on both sides.
Blinken departing as Israel announces this morning it's recovered 6 more hostage bodies from Gaza. Among them, 79-year-old Avraham Munder. He was kidnapped on October 7th along with his wife, daughter, and 8-year-old grandson, Ohad. We were there when the family celebrated a painful birthday as Ohad turned 9 in captivity.
In Gaza now, the terrorists took him to Gaza, and his family, you can see.
But while Ohad and the women were freed in last year's hostage deal, his grandfather was left behind. And we've spoken to the Munder family many times over the last 10 months. They campaigned just tirelessly trying to bring their grandfather safely back from Gaza, but it was not to be. Also today, Israel says it bombed a school in Gaza City where Hamas fighters were hiding. Gaza's civil defense say at least 4 people were killed. Back to you.
All right, Raf, thank you.
Well, back home, at least 2 people are dead and hundreds more displaced after widespread flooding just soaked the Northeast. Scenes like this one you see on your screen are plaguing Connecticut. This morning, fast-moving floodwaters washed away roads and homes, and officials say at least 6 bridges throughout the state were damaged. Rescue crews say the waters came in too fast for many people to get to safety.
Yesterday's period of about 6 or 7 hours, the fire department rescued over 100 people. And I don't mean just evacuate, I mean rescued.
That was the case at this restaurant in Beacon Falls, where 18 people had to be rescued. Here you can see fire crews helping them crawl on this ladder across the raging waters. Thankfully, there is not much more rain in the forecast for the Northeast, so people can hopefully start focusing on the cleanup.
All right, let's bring in NBC News meteorologist Angie Lassman.
She is keeping a close eye on the dangerous heat that we're also dealing with down in the south this morning. Angie, good morning.
Good morning, guys. That heat is going to be here to stay at least for a couple of days. We've got a heat dome. This means that we essentially are looking at kind of a pattern that we're stuck in for folks to be dealing with these temperatures well above normal in one area of the country, but a little cooler than normal in another. I'll show you what I mean in a second. First, though, let's look at some of these heat alerts that are in effect across parts of the Southwest, across the South, Austin, Dallas, Roswell, Albuquerque, Phoenix. You're all included in this, and you're likely going to see these heat alerts remain for a couple of days. The record high potential is also going to be there for multiple cities over multiple days. Here's just some of the spots: Amarillo, Albuquerque, Phoenix, Austin, San Antonio, and stretching down to the coast for places like Galveston. You could potentially break a record high here as we go through at least the next couple of days. Here's your highs for today. Albuquerque, high 90s. That well above normal for this time of year. We usually will see temperatures running a little more like the upper 80s for that area. We'll see Midland into the high 100s. We'll see Dallas 101 as well. All of these temperatures are going to be really uncomfortable. We've got some spots that are going to have to deal with the humidity levels elevated as well across parts of the South and closer to the Gulf of Mexico. But it's a much different story if you live in the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, or even the Great Lakes. We're seeing cooler than normal temperatures, and it was quite refreshing in some spots as you get up and get out the door this morning. And even this afternoon, temperatures aren't all that warm. 76 degrees for New York. This is well below normal for this time of year. We've got Washington, D.C. just topping out in the high 70s. Detroit ends up at 71 degrees, and Chicago hits those low 70s as well. Meanwhile, in Florida, we do have some rain to track, and this is going to be kind of the story over the next couple of days. We've got this pesky front that's just going to hang around in portions of northern Florida, so the rain chances will be there. Now, the good news is that the severe risk is low, so we're not looking at anything in the way of, strong winds or strong storms today. to develop, no hail, but there is a chance that you could run into some flooding concerns over at least the next 2 days. This will last into tomorrow, and you can see some batches of heavy rain working through, so those localized downpours will potentially lead to some flooding concerns across the state of Florida. By the time we get into the late week, I think maybe an inch or 2 inches in some of the highest amounts across parts of the Space Coast and stretching down into South Florida. And why not, guys? It's Tuesday, but let's look ahead to Friday.
Yeah.
Gorgeous conditions across the east. I know it was a busy couple of days for the Northeast, but we're going to see plenty of sunshine. And actually, temperatures will kind of hang out in that moderate range before we start to see them climb back as we get into the end of the weekend and into early week. But you'll enjoy it. Unfortunately, for the South, it remains very hot. We're not going to see a whole lot of relief for them. It'll be another winter, Savannah. Don't worry. On Saturday across the Northeast, Florida dealing with storms. No surprise there. 'Tis the season for that. But plenty of sunshine. Pool day. How about that for the middle of the country on Sunday?
I think it looks like a pool day on the East Coast, too.
It does. And you know, we're wrapping up summer, so we're not as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Yet. I'll see you guys at the pool.
Because it'll be winter before you know it.
Yes, it will.
All right. Thank you.
Another winner.
Coming up this hour at Morning News Now, 6 people are missing after a luxury yacht sank off the Italian island of Sicily.
We'll have the latest as rescue teams resume search efforts. That's coming up next. We are back now with the latest on a super yacht that sank off the coast of Italy, killing at least one person. Rescue crews are still searching for 6 missing passengers, including 2 Americans, after the boat capsized when a freak storm hit near Sicily. NBC News international correspondent Kelly Cobeya is following this one for us from London. Kelly, good morning. What can you tell us?
Savannah, good morning. That wreckage is in about 150 feet of water on the sea floor, and one diver told Italian media, Italian newspaper Il Messaggero this morning that it is intact and lying on its side. But still, divers are involved in a complex mission now. They're only able to stay at that depth for about 12 minutes at a time as they search for the missing. This morning, a desperate search in the waters off Sicily. Expert cave divers brought in to look for 6 missing passengers, including a British tech tycoon, his teenage daughter, and 2 Americans, possibly trapped in the wreckage of the 154-foot super yacht Bayesian, seen lit up Monday night before a terrifying storm. A restaurant capturing this video of violent wind gusts of up to 150 miles an hour amid reports of a waterspout. A boat captain nearby says he saw the yacht go down just before 5 a.m. Monday.
It's a strong orkan gust, very strong. They went flat on the water, and then down.
Italian officials say among the missing are attorney Chris Morvillo and his wife, the British chairman of Morgan Stanley, Jonathan Bloomer, and his wife, Judy Bloomer, and British tech tycoon Mike Lynch and his daughter. His wife, Angela Baccaris, was rescued. Lynch was acquitted of fraud in the U.S. in June, a trial connected to the sale of his firm Autonomy to Hewlett-Packard in 2011. On Monday, divers pulled one body from the waters. Italian media reporting it was a Canadian man, the yacht's chef. But some stories of survival, like Charlotte Galinsky and her young daughter, rescued by the captain. The 34-year-old mother telling Italian media she briefly lost hold of her daughter, then held the little girl above the waves with all my strength before reaching safety. The yacht had one of the highest aluminum masts in the world, 246 feet tall. And witnesses say it snapped in the storm and may have caused the yacht to sink. That's something that investigators are still looking into. By the way, that mom, Charlotte Galinsky, told Italian media that her family survived because the storm woke them up. They were on deck when that boat capsized. She, her husband, and daughter all survived, and Savannah have no injuries.
Wow, that is just incredible. Kelly Cobeya, thank you so much.
More international headlines now. In Pakistan, hundreds are dead after monsoon rains caused flash flooding.
NBC's international correspondent Claudia Lavanga joins us from Rome with that and more. Claudia, good morning.
Good morning, guys. That's right. Pakistani authorities say that in the last 24 hours alone, at least 29 people have died from flash floods triggered by the monsoon. That brings the total overall death toll of people who died from rain-related incidents from the start of the monsoon season at the beginning of July to 209. Now, Pakistan's National Disaster Management Authority said flash floods also damaged a key highway, disrupting traffic, and damaged more than 2,000 1,200 homes across the country. Experts are blaming climate change for the increased intensity of the monsoon rains in recent years. Let's go to the Democratic Republic of Congo now, where the first doses of an Mpox vaccine are expected to arrive next week from Japan and the United States in an attempt to control the outbreak of the viral disease there. Last week, the World Health Organization declared Mpox a global public health emergency for the second time in 2 years as a new, more contagious and deadlier variant of the disease spread rapidly across Africa. Despite the fact that the outbreak is mainly affecting African countries, they have limited or no access to the vaccines which are widely available in Europe and the United States. And let's end this tour of the world in the UK, where this week coins featuring the portrait of King Charles III will officially enter circulation. The coins mark the King's new reign and will celebrate his love for nature by featuring on the tail side images of the country's flora and fauna, such as bees, a red squirrel, an oak tree leaf, and a salmon. The Royal Mint said 3 million of the coins will be issued to post offices and banks across the country and are expected to generate a buzz among collectors. Well, mainly, of course, for those sporting the picture of bees or an image of bees, guys.
That's right. Do you spend it? Do you save it and collect it? Such a decision. All right, Claudio, thank you so much.
Thank you. Coming up, it was a murder trial that gripped the nation.
Now, a new book is shining a spotlight on the Alec Murdaugh case in all its detail. It's called The Devil at His Elbow, Alec Murdaugh and the Fall of a Southern Dynasty. It's out today. We're going to speak with its author, the Wall Street Journal's Valerie Borline, after this. We're back now with a look at the explosive new docuseries about convicted murderer Scott Peterson. While serving his life sentence in prison, he's now speaking out for the first time in 2 decades about the killing of his pregnant wife, Lacey, and why he says he is innocent of the crimes. Here's NBC News correspondent Kaylee Hartung.
Hey there, yes, this case has riveted the nation for more than 20 years. And now in a new docuseries out today on Peacock, we hear from Scott Peterson himself on the murder of his pregnant wife, Lacey, why he thinks he deserves a new trial and who he believes really killed his wife and their unborn child.
This morning, 2 decades after going to prison for the murder of his pregnant wife, Lacey, Scott Peterson is breaking his silence.
I wish I could say I was stronger, but all that stuff did take a toll on me.
In the new Peacock docuseries, Face to Face, the 51-year-old speaks out from behind prison walls, arguing police ignored critical evidence that exonerates him and describes in disbelief the moment he was convicted.
I was still expecting to go home that day. I was staggered by it.
Peterson was sentenced to death in 2004 for the 2002 murders of his wife Lacey and their unborn son Connor, after their bodies washed up in San Francisco Bay, near where he said he'd gone fishing months earlier.
There are certainly times that I become a wreck.
At times emotional, Peterson pushing back on the portrayal of him as an uncaring and detached husband.
I was so angry at the media because the reports just weren't factual. I strive not to show any emotion in the court because I didn't want to, see them break me.
He also speaks out about his former girlfriend, Amber Fry, whose testimony was crucial to establishing a motive.
They said that you killed Lacey because you didn't want to be married and you didn't want to be a father.
That's so offensive. It's so disgusting. I certainly regret cheating on Lacey.
Why did you keep talking to Amber Fry after Lacey disappeared?
I was searching for my family, stay in contact with Amber, I thought, and she wouldn't get into the picture, complicate, ruin the search.
In 2020, Peterson's death sentence was reduced to life without parole. Now backed by the LA Innocence Project, he's petitioning for a new trial, arguing it was burglars robbing the home across the street who killed Lacey.
I believe that Lacey went over there to see what was going on. That's where she was taken.
This is one of 2 dueling docuseries about the Peterson case. The other one on Netflix focuses more on Lacey's side and includes a rare interview with her mother, Sharon, who still believes Scott killed her daughter. Back to you.
All right, Kaylee Hartung, thank you.
Let's turn now to the murder trial of Alec Murdaugh, the former South Carolina attorney who was found guilty of murder in the 2021 deaths of his wife and his son.
Murdaugh was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences for the killings. He has appealed the conviction, and the South Carolina Supreme Court has agreed to hear the case. We're joined now by national reporter for the Wall Street Journal, Valerie Borline. She is the author of a new book called The Devil at His Elbow, Alec Murdaugh and the Fall of a Southern Dynasty. That book is out today. Congratulations. Let's dive in here. You've been reporting on this for more than 3 years. Of course, you were in that courtroom every day during the trial, but you dug a lot deeper than that into really just the astounding history of this man and this family. What stood out to you most in all of the research that you did?
You know, what stood out to me the most was there was a precedent for every crime that Alec Murdaugh gets convicted of. There was a precedent in his family. So we know, for example, with Labor Day, the Labor Day shooting by the side of the road, he was charged with insurance fraud. Well, I found an incident of insurance fraud 100 years ago involving his grandfather who drove his car onto, his great-grandfather who drove his car into train tracks. So there were, Alec Murdaugh pleaded guilty to stealing from dozens of clients. There were clients who had accused his grandfather of stealing from them as well. So what surprised me the most is there was a precedent for every crime that Alec is convicted of in that family.
Why do you think this has captivated so many people?
You know, the story really had everything. It took place in a fascinating place, the South, on a massive property, Moselle, this romantic, huge hunting estate. There were no suspects for a long time. We didn't know who did it. And what we came to understand with revelation after revelation is that this perfect family on the surface was the opposite underneath. And I think just the combination of these hard-to-believe, fantastical crimes that he is accused of, stealing from the most vulnerable people, and then also just the number of deaths that took place around this family. If you remember Gloria Satterfield, that Murdaugh housekeeper who fell down the stairs, it was just revelation after revelation. I think it was stranger than fiction for people.
And that's why it's a story that isn't over yet. It just keeps grabbing people's attention and still so much more to look into. Let's talk specifically about this trial. You were in there every single day. It was truly like a made-for-TV moment where every day it felt like there was a stunning revelation. What was it like for you being in there? You've probably covered a lot of trials. Anything like this before?
I can remember I was recently flipping through some of my notebooks, and I'd written in the margin, "Is this really happening?" It was like watching a play, but the stakes were life and death, right? And there were so many moments where I can remember when Jim Griffin, Alec Murdaugh's lawyer, called and said, the defendant, Richard Alexander Murdaugh, would like to take the stand. We all looked at one another like, is he going to tell us? We're going to hear from him himself. So it was a privilege to be there, and I really tried very hard to watch the juries, for example. That was part of. I had a bird's eye view of them, and to describe what their faces were telling us as they were listening to the testimony. So it was a fascinating case to be in the room for.
What else might readers who consumed a lot of this information as it was happening, watched as much as they could? We know that this was something that, already immediately documentaries were made out of. Somebody who's maybe consumed a lot of it. What else is new in your book? Somebody who's interested in hearing about this?
I really, in my mind, I had 2 readers in mind. The person who had read everything, that watched every moment of the trial, and I wanted to surprise them with some new detail. Well, you thought you knew this, but what Dick Harpootlian was whispering to us at the back of the room was that. Or, but then the other person was somebody who was aware of it, but didn't really follow it. I wanted to tell the story beginning, middle, and end, going back to the start of this dynasty in the early 1900s. So, I had 450 pages and the luxury of time to really get to remind you all the ways that this story is a truer, stranger than fiction.
Yeah, wow. Valerie, thank you so much. Congratulations on the book. It is out today. We appreciate you coming by.
Thank y'all.
Coming up, Boy Meets World star Danielle Fishel reveals that she has been diagnosed with breast cancer.
We will have more on her story and why early detection can make a big difference in the prognosis. That's up next. We are We're back with some news about Boy Meets World star Danielle Fishel. She is now opening up about her breast cancer diagnosis.
Fishel announced the news yesterday on an episode of her podcast, Pod Meets World, saying that she has been diagnosed with a very early form of the disease.
NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa joins us with the details here. Hey, Emily, good morning.
Hey, guys, good morning to you. Danielle Fishel played Topanga Lawrence on the beloved coming-of-age show Boy Meets World, which ran for 7 seasons and became a hit among young viewers. And while the actress says she never thought she'd take her personal health battle public, Fishel now hopes sharing her experience will help others.
You don't need money.
Actress Danielle Fishel, who captured many young hearts as the fictional character Topanga Lawrence on Boy Meets World, opening up about her real-life fight with cancer.
I was recently diagnosed with DCIS, which stands for ductal carcinoma in situ, which is a form of breast cancer.
Fishel sharing the news on Pod Meets World, the rewatch podcast she hosts with friends and former co-stars Ryder Strong and Will Friedle.
The only reason I caught this cancer when it is still stage 0 is because the day I got my text message that my yearly mammogram had come up, I made the appointment.
Fishel says she will be undergoing treatment and expects to be fine.
We love you, and you know that we got you.
The three have been close since the heyday of Boy Meets World, the popular coming-of-age sitcom that ran from 1993 to 2000 on ABC, following Fishel's character as she navigated first kisses, prom dates, and eventually marriage. Now 43 and a mother of 2, Fishel says she'd always thought she'd suffer in silence if she ever got this kind of news, but changed her mind in order to encourage others to keep up with health screenings.
I hope that it will encourage anyone to get in there. If it's time for your appointment, if you've never had an appointment before, get in there.
Her husband, Jensen Karp, writing, "I'm so proud of Danielle Fishel for using her platform to raise awareness. She's the strongest person I've ever met. She's got this." The show's Instagram page filling up with messages of support and well wishes. One fan writing, "Sending love and health to Danielle. I'm years behind for a doc appointment and made one during the podcast." A child star from the 90s with an important reminder as she navigates a personal health challenge. And about 20 to 25% of breast cancer diagnoses in the U.S. are what's called DCIS, or stage 0. It generally does not have obvious symptoms like a lump or pain and is typically discovered through mammograms, which again underscores the value of regular screenings, guys.
All right, Emily, thank you so much.
Now, in her situation, Danielle Fishel says that she's lucky because her case was caught early. She's encouraging the importance, as you heard there, of early detection. According to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, 1 in 8 women in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime.
But there is hope, like we've been saying, if the disease is caught early, with the American Cancer Society saying the 5-year relative survival rate is 99% when it's caught in its earliest stages. Joining us now for more on this is NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. Dr. Azar, good morning. Always great to see you. Walk us through that. DCIS, as it's called. I mean, it's great news, but why is it that that makes such a difference here, that it's so curable at that stage?
Yep. So DCIS stands for ductal carcinoma in situ. And what that means is that it is technically considered cancer, but it's pre-invasive, meaning that in situ means that it has stayed in that one area. And as the name implies, it begins in the milk ducts. It is, as the piece pointed out, something that we refer to as stage 0, because if there is no invasion of the surrounding tissue, then technically removing that part that is cancerous, in addition to a little margin or rim of regular tissue, can theoretically be curable. What they do, in addition to taking it out and looking under the microscope and seeing DCIS, is they also give it a grade, low, moderate to high grade, and depending on that would inform whether or not a patient will get any other treatment besides just removal of that piece of tissue.
Let's talk about, Fishel wrote, quote, "If you have to find out you have cancer, find out at stage 0. You touched on it there, but talk to us about the importance of early detection, how it does make such major.
100%. As we pointed out in the intro, there is about a 98% 10-year survival rate for DCIS, which, again, is technically cancer. There aren't a lot of cancers where you can say that there's almost 100% survival at 10 years. But as the stage gets higher and higher, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or God forbid, metastatic disease at diagnosis. And depending on the grade of the tumor, and then they also look at the genes. They look at the genetic sort of makeup of the tumor to see how likely it is to recur and all of those things. So not all DCIS is created equal, but as Danielle said in her piece, early detection is so key. The survival is so much greater if you can catch a cancer early, which is pretty much true for most cancers. We talk about ovarian a lot. You know, a similar situation often presents at later stages.
I guess I'm hearing you say, you know, that 10-year survival rate, or a second ago we had a stat with 5 years. Like,
yes,
Neil is a young woman who you would imagine, unless some other type of event enters the picture, like she's going to live more than 10 years, you'd hope.
Right.
So does having this in the first place, like the fact that you had DCIS, does it mean that you need to be on the lookout more than other people would be for something to happen again, so that you can make it past 10?
Yes, so it's a little bit of a mixed kind of, I think, like, take home, in that DCIS can be curable with resection. However, it does increase the risk that you will have another cancer in the future, one that theoretically could be invasive. So taking her diagnosis in the context of her and her potential risk factors for breast cancer, her doctors will now move forward with a treatment and surveillance and detection plan that is unique to her. Whether that's going to be every 6 months, maybe she'll have some type of imaging, MRI, ultrasound, mammogram. It's also important to point out, as Emily did, that DCIS is often asymptomatic. It's so small and tiny that it's really detected just by changes on a mammogram, which really, again, communicates the importance of regular screening, particularly with mammogram, to pick up these cancers at such an early stage.
We just have a few seconds here, but what's the main takeaway for women as far as getting checked?
The main takeaway for women is our heads are filled with when should I start and how frequently should I do it. Average age to start screening mammograms is around the age of 40. It could be earlier if you're high risk, but every woman is different. The frequency and for how long you do it and when you stop doing it can be different for everyone. You need to sort of, devise this plan with your own doc. That is something that is unique to you.
All right, Dr. Natalie Azar, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now for what's making financial headlines, another contender is throwing their name into the hat for Paramount Global.
CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and more. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Savannah. Hey, Joe. Good morning to you. Yes, so Paramount Global has another suitor. Veteran media executive Edgar Bronfman Jr. has reportedly submitted a roughly $4 billion bid to buy Paramount's controlling shareholder, National Amusements. This would compete with the deal Paramount and National Amusements reached last month with Hollywood producer Skydance Media. That agreement includes a so-called go shop period, allowing Paramount to solicit other offers. Alaska Airlines says its proposed merger with Hawaiian Airlines has cleared a regulatory hurdle with the Justice Department. Last week, Alaska agreed to extend the review period for the roughly $2 billion deal, which has now expired. The Department of Transportation still has to approve the transaction. If completed, this would be the first major U.S. airline merger since Alaska bought Virgin America in 2016. And for the first time, a gold bar is worth a cool $1 million. The milestone was reached in the past few days as the spot price for the precious metal topped a record $2,500 per troy ounce. Gold bars typically weigh about 400 ounces, so that would make each one worth more than $1 million, although it is still possible for people to buy smaller, more affordable bars, such as the ones that are sold at Costco.
I'll have to look for my gold bars. I'm sure they're lying around
Next
somewhere.
time you do that Costco run, pick up a couple.
Pick up a few.
Thank you, Savannah. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Now for a look at the life and legacy of Phil Donahue. He passed away Sunday at the age of 88. As tributes pour in, we keep hearing the same words: pioneer and legend. The TV world is applauding Donahue for what he covered, for who he interviewed, and for how he hosted his show. All of it groundbreaking.
It was easy for viewers to spot the silver mane of hair dashing through the aisles, his microphone like a baton that just had to be shared.
What led you to enter the field of politics?
I'm still asking myself that.
The audience was central.
Is the caller there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
To the show that bore Phil Donahue's name.
Our radical idea was called democracy. We gave everybody a chance to actually speak on the airwaves that they owned in the first place.
The talk show trailblazer is now being celebrated by those who followed in his footsteps, like Oprah Winfrey, who writes, "There wouldn't have been an Oprah show without Phil Donahue being the first to prove that daytime talk and women watching should be taken seriously. He was a pioneer." Well, Rosie O'Donnell calls him a beautiful man in every way. I will miss him.
I'm Phil Donahue.
Know your fella.
The Phil Donahue Show first hit the airwaves in 1967, debuting in Dayton, Ohio, before moving to Chicago, where it was renamed Donahue, later ending up in New York. At its peak, each episode racked up 8 to 9 million viewers, attracting huge celebrities.
How would you imitate John Wayne? Just one line. Just one line.
Well, all right, Pilgrim.
And rising political stars.
I sit here a long time in silence, Phil. I'm not going to answer any more of these questions. I've answered them until I'm blue in the face.
Donahue was fearless, tackling the topics you're supposed to avoid on a first date, like abortion and religion.
This is Chernobyl.
He was the first Western journalist to visit Chernobyl after the nuclear disaster. In 1982, his show was the first to interview someone living with AIDS.
Didn't you go through the feeling of being punished, and didn't you have, in the early go, did you wonder about that?
Well, of course I wondered.
For a time, he was even a contributor on Today.
Morning, Jane. Let's administer the home jealousy test.
But in 1996, with his ratings struggling, Donahue finally ended its 29-year run. Over the years, he won 20 Daytime Emmys, co-directed an award-winning anti-war documentary called Body of War, and just this year received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Yet his greatest reward came in 1977, when Marlo Thomas was his guest.
You are really fascinating. And
but you are wonderful. I said it when we were off there, and I want to say you are loving and generous, and you like women, and it's a pleasure. And whoever is the woman in your life is very lucky.
That was the spark that led to a 44-year marriage. Recently, they wrote a book and hosted a podcast about love.
Was there one piece of advice or some mantra that even you experienced happy married people picked up?
More than one couple said their habit is to say, "I love you," every night before you go to sleep. Every night. You know, that's how do you argue with that?
Yesterday, Thomas posted one of her favorite photos of Donahue taken on vacation, writing, "I hope that you will continue to hold close those you cherish most, just as I was blessed to do with my beloved Philip."
Marlo Thomas also thanked everyone for their beautiful messages of love and support over the last 24 hours. Donahue's family says that he passed away Sunday night at home following a long illness. He was surrounded by loved ones, including his beloved golden retriever, Charlie, who will be dearly missed by so many.
My goodness, and what a love story. Gosh,
exactly.
It's so cool
I know
to see
that moment, the spark when it was lit, and know what led.
I want all the
followed.
details, and love it. Thank you. Great look back. Coming up, the blue supermoon is rising.
After the break, we're going to take a closer look at this rare celestial phenomenon that delighted space watchers overnight with the one and only Mike Massimino. He's with us. Coming up next. Finally this hour, we're taking a closer look at the celestial phenomenon that only happens once every 10 years.
Yeah, it is called a super blue moon. Okay, this is a rare event when a super moon and then a seasonal blue moon converge. Don't worry, we're going to explain all that. For this one single viewing opportunity, that rare moon hit its peak last night. Don't worry, if you missed it, it will be visible to most Americans until tomorrow. We've got former NASA astronaut Mike Massimino, who joins us with more on this. He's also the senior advisor for space programs at the Intrepid Museum. Mike, always wonderful to have you with us.
Pleasure to be here.
Okay, so let's talk this through. Supermoon, what is that one? Blue moon, what is that one? Why is it a big deal when it's all at the same time?
Okay, so the supermoon occurs when you have a full moon, when the moon is closest to Earth in its orbit. So if you look at the orbit of the moon, it's not perfectly circular, it's elliptical. So that means there's a point where it's furthest away, that's called apogee. And there's a point where this is for any orbit is like this, right?
Yep.
And when it's closest to the Earth, it's called perigee. Okay. So a supermoon happens when the moon is full and it's also at its perigee, which means it's closest. So it appears a bit larger than a typical full moon and much brighter than a typical full moon. And that's what's happening with the supermoon.
And it's not blue in color. To explain why it's called the blue moon,
so,
and then how can we see it? Are we able to see it, and how do we best see it?
Okay, so the blue moon part of it, The moon has its different phases, and the full phase of the moon, when you go from a full moon to another full moon, that takes 29.5 days. Okay, so we typically get one of those a month, or in a season, which is 3 months, like summer, fall. With those, you'll get 3 of those in a season. But every once in a while, the way the math works out, because it's slightly less than 30 days, you'll get 4 in a season, and the third of the fourth is the blue moon. That I'm not sure why number 3 won.
That really bugs me.
And so we're getting the third blue moon of this season, which is rare. That's why they call it once in a blue moon. But it's extremely rare when the super moon is also a blue moon.
So once in a super blue moon is like really...
That's every, like you're saying, once every 10 years. And as far as seeing it, what's cool about this stuff is that you don't have to be in a certain part of the globe, or you can, the whole world can see the same phase of the moon when it's full. So everyone in the world can see the full moon. What you need is good weather. The super blue moon, you can see, you need good weather and get away from the buildings or get to the top of the building so you can actually see the moon. So
I love to learn something random like that. Like that's why we say once in a blue moon. That was really good to know.
Yeah.
Mike, we also just recently had a meteor shower. It feels like there's a lot of activity going on.
I think there's always a lot of stuff going on. You can always find something to look up for. The Perseid meteor shower, which is one that happened last week. That happens. It's what is the tail of a comet that passes by the Earth every once in a while. And when we go closest to that debris field, we get a bunch of meteors coming down. That is visible mainly in the northern hemisphere. You can see it down in the southern hemisphere, like to the mid latitudes. But that's a show we get mainly in the northern hemisphere once a year.
Super blue moon tonight. We can still see it again. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the height of it was yesterday, but the day before and the day after, you'll still get a pretty good look at it.
All right. So if you got a clear sky and
it's a pretty cool. It's a cool thing. It's just to think about all this stuff. So it's kind of like when we had the eclipse, a few months ago. These things remind us that we're actually living on a planet, and that we're moving around in these orbits and it's just a reminder we're not in this little cocoon. We kind of think we're in buildings and stuff, but really, we're all space travelers, and this is a reminder of it.
I love that. That's a good way to look at things.
There you go.
All right. Please do not wait for once in a blue moon to come back.
Yeah.
I'll be back
whenever.
We're all
space travelers. What fun music I hear.
I'll be back whenever you want me.
That's going to do it for this hour.
That's
going to do it for this hour. Morning news now.
Stay with us, space travelers. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.